The airport in Bologna has these hard plastic chairs that hold heat like a frying pan. I know this because my sister sat in one for 11 hours, calling me 43 times, while I sat in my kitchen in Ohio, drinking coffee and watching the little missed call number climb. I didn't answer. Not once. 6 months earlier, I would have flown across the planet if she stubbed her toe. So let me back up because you need to understand how a person gets from that to this. I'm the older one, 2 years older than Chloe. All our lives, the family math was simple. I was the responsible one, so I got responsibilities, and Chloe was the fun one, so she got everything else. I made peace with it early. It's easier than fighting. I got engaged last spring to a guy named Marcus. Good guy, boring in the way you want a life partner to be boring, pays bills on time, texts when he's running late. We weren't rich, but we were careful. For 3 years, we'd been putting money into a joint savings account for the wedding, $25,000. Every skipped vacation, every let's just cook at home. That account was the point of it all. My parents knew about the account. That's the part that still gets me. They knew because early on, my dad offered to be a backup signer in case anything happened to us before the big day. Sentimental, practical. I said sure. I trusted him. He's my dad. You already see where this is going. I didn't. Not for a while. Here's how it actually cracked open. It wasn't dramatic. It was a Tuesday. I was at my parents' house helping Mom clear out the garage, and her iPad was sitting on the workbench, unlocked, open to her email. I wasn't snooping, I was moving it so it wouldn't get dusty, but the screen was right there, and the subject line was right there. Chloe, Amalfi Coast, final itinerary and balance paid. I stopped moving. I'm not proud of what I did next, which was read the whole thing. 2 flights, business class, a villa in Positano, a girls' trip for Chloe and 2 of her friends. Total, just over $19,000. And at the bottom, a forwarded receipt from a bank transfer. Our bank number. I'd stared at that number for 3 years. I put the iPad back exactly where it was. I want to describe the feeling, but every way I say it sounds fake. It wasn't a movie moment. It was quieter than that. It was the feeling of a floor you've stood on your whole life turning out to be painted cardboard. I drove home. I logged in. The wedding account had $1,100 left in it. My dad, the backup signer, had moved the rest in 3 transfers over 2 months. The memo on the largest one said, and I am not making this up, gift. Here's where most people confront everybody. Big fight, tears, somebody says, how could you? I know that's what would have happened because that's the script my family runs every single time. Chloe gets caught, Chloe cries, Chloe gets forgiven, and I get told to be the bigger person. So, I didn't confront anyone. Instead, I did the boring, unglamorous thing. That Thursday, I drove to the branch, the actual building with the pens on chains, and I sat down with a teller. I withdrew the remaining $1,100 in a cashier's check. Then I opened a brand new account, solo, my name only, at a different bank across town. I moved every future paycheck to route there. I didn't close the joint wedding account. I couldn't, not with my dad's signature, and I didn't want to tip anyone off. I just left it sitting there, empty, dormant, a dead husk with our name on it and a balance of 0. Then I smiled and waited for the trip. The next 3 weeks were a masterclass in watching people feel safe. Chloe posted a countdown on her story, 18 days, 12 days, a little suitcase emoji. She borrowed my good travel adapter and didn't ask. Mom kept mentioning casually how Chloe had been so stressed lately and really needed this. Dad said nothing, which for him was practically a confession. He just looked comfortable, pleased with himself. A man who thinks the hard part is over. Then came Sunday dinner. Roast chicken, the good plates, Mom kept refilling her wine, Dad carved the chicken and said the thing that I'll hear in my head forever. It's good for one of you kids to finally see the world. One of you, like I was furniture. I asked Chloe warmly if she had everything sorted for the trip. She flicked her eyes to Mom, then said, "Yeah, Dad handled the boring money stuff." I said, "Smart." I meant it, because I knew exactly what boring money stuff meant. Here's where they never understood. Dad hadn't just wired the big lump sum. To look like the hero, he'd handled the details too, and the debit card he used for the hotel security deposits and the final ground transport, the private drivers between towns and the run to Bologna airport, was the debit card attached directly to the wedding account. He assumed that $1,100 buffer was still sitting there to cover the holds. It had been until Thursday. Chloe and her friends flew out fine. 4 beautiful days. Then the driver for the Bologna airport run never showed because the transport hold on the card came back declined because the account it pulled from had exactly $0 in it. The concierge tried the deposit hold again. Declined. They tried to reach my father. My father, meanwhile, was in Ohio watching his phone light up with an alert, insufficient funds. He logged in, saw the dead account, and did the math no man wants to do on a Saturday morning. Then the calls started. Chloe first, 43 of them, then Mom, 3 times, then Dad, who I actually answered. He was shouting before I said hello. The card, the embarrassment, the driver, how could I, what did I do? I let him run out of air. Then I said one sentence. Ask Chloe to cover it. I hear she came into about $19,000 recently. Silence. The good kind. Then I emailed the folder, the transfers, the statements, the itinerary to all 3 of them at once. Subject line, final itinerary and balance paid. They got home eventually. A friend's parent wired them enough for economy seats and a train ride. Marcus and I got married in the fall. Backyard, 40 people. My parents weren't there. Chloe wasn't there. Cheapest wedding you've ever seen. Best money I never spent.